Okay, I know what you're thinking, but don't do it. Don't reach out to the avoidant ex. Don't write them that heartfelt letter telling them how much they mean to you and how you will never abandon them. Don't spend all that time and energy into trying to reassure them so they don't have to feel their fears. Your love, your commitment is precisely what is pushing the avoidant away, especially if you're dealing with a dismissive avoidant or a fearful avoidant that leans dismissive. Your love is one of their triggers. This is a person with a very specific set of fears. And these fears are triggered by healthy, loving relationship behaviors. These fears are triggered as emotional intimacy builds in a relationship. If you go back to childhood, avoidants were emotionally neglected by their parents or caretakers. They were not shown the love and the nurturing in the way that they needed as children. And because of this, the avoidant grows up associating emotional closeness with abandonment, because they were supposed to be able to rely on their parents for their emotional needs, but their parents were not there for them. So they learn if you rely on anybody for your emotional needs, this person is going to disappoint you, they're going to reject you, and they're going to abandon you. And you just got thrown away by the avoidant, likely out of nowhere, or maybe they did a slow fade. And you are desperate to try to get this person back into the relationship because you're committed to this person. You thought you really had your match and you don't want to watch this person slip through your fingers. I get it. However, your love will just push them away further. Your love is what triggered them to begin with. Because they didn't receive the love from their parents as a child, they grow up to also feel like they are unlovable, like they are defective. So emotional closeness, as it builds in a relationship, it triggers their entire nervous system with anxiety. They feel overwhelmed and they feel like they're not good enough for a loving, healthy partner. They're not good enough for someone that shows them consistent love and affection. So they shut down and they deactivate. They take their feelings for their partner, they bury them, they suppress them. They don't allow themselves to access their own feelings for their partner. It's how they've learned to keep themselves safe since they were children. They take their emotions and push them away because emotions are unsafe. Emotions are scary. They were never shown how to handle and process emotions. And here you are trying to be a loving partner in a healthy relationship, tons of emotion, and that frightens the avoidant. That is what is triggering their fears, because if they let you in behind that wall that they build around their heart, it's inevitable that you're going to figure out that you're too good for them. You're going to reject and abandon them. So the harder you try to love them, the harder you try to show them that you love them, the more this person gets pushed away. And this is why wonderful relationships can end seemingly out of nowhere. That's because something in the relationship, emotional intimacy was building, and something triggered the avoidant into realizing, oh, this person's getting close. This relationship is getting real. And as a defense mechanism, they push their partner away. So you want to reassure them. You want to tell them, no, I'm not going anywhere. But these attempts at reassurance, the attempts to try to show them that you're not going to reject them, that you're not going to abandon them, actually pushes them away further. This is a person that has unhealed attachment wounds from childhood. This is a person that has a ton of fear. Avoidant behavior is driven by fear. And that number one fear of that set of fears is abandonment. It lies in the subconscious of the avoidant. Until they heal their attachment wounds, healthy, loving relationship behaviors will always drive them away. Doesn't matter what you say, there are no magic words to make this person come back. This person has to want to heal. This person has to want to work on themselves. You can't force them, and actually the harder you try to get them to just understand and see the light, the faster away they run. No contact is the best thing that you can do after the avoidant has abruptly discarded you or slow fade discarded you. No contact allows them to actually experience the consequences of their actions. It actually allows them to feel your absence, to feel your loss. First, it'll actually help them feel safe because they're no longer being pressured to be in a relationship with you. They're no longer being pressured to be emotionally available, physically available. They're no longer feeling pressured to be anything for you. After a period of relief, now it's safe for them to unbury their feelings because you're not trying to chase them. You're not trying to pursue them. Now they can allow themselves to miss you, but it takes time. Once they get to the point where they can allow themselves to miss you, that is also when they can actually regret pushing you away. And with some avoidance, they can regret it to the point where they're willing to actually work on themselves. But this only happens after you give them that space and that absence with no contact. When you desperately try to get them to come back to the relationship, whether it's writing letters, trying to send them loving texts, phone calls, showing up, trying to talk to them, all you're doing is pushing this person further and further and further away. But what you're also doing is you're sending yourself a profoundly negative message. You're actually telling yourself that it's okay for you to be treated like this. That it's okay to be treated like an option. It's okay to just be thrown out as if you never mattered. It's okay for them to do that to you, and you are the one that needs to earn them back. That is a very negative message to send yourself, and you're pushing yourself into anxiety by behaving that way. When you go into no contact, you are also respecting your own worth, and you are letting this person know, no, it's not okay to treat me this way. I'm not an option. I prioritized you, and I deserve to be prioritized the same in return. Now, the avoidant, they didn't do this to hurt you, but they also weren't thinking of you. Your feelings were not a consideration. This is a person, due to their own deep insecurities, is so wrapped up in themselves. They are so wrapped up in their own perceived wants and needs, they're not even considering your feelings. They're only considering what they feel in the moment. So again, you pouring your heart out, it's not going to have an effect. This is a person that's deactivated. This is a person that has learned to run from problems, avoid processing emotions, avoid dealing with any negative, painful emotion whatsoever. And this includes avoiding self-reflection. So when you're trying to push them to reflect on the relationship and to push them to try to come back, open up, be available, it's just going to drive them away further, and you're going to chip away at your own sense of self at the same time. So do yourself a favor as well as the avoidant. Go into no contact and stay there until they reach out in a meaningful way to you. No contact does not mean that you have to ghost this person. No contact doesn't mean you ignore them. It just means that you are not the one initiating contact with the avoidant. You are not the one reaching out. They're the ones that broke the relationship. The burden is on them to be the ones to take the initial steps to repair what they broke. It is not your responsibility to heal their attachment wounds. It is not your responsibility to open their eyes and make them want to be a healthier partner. That is on them. And don't forget, you didn't deserve the way they treated you. Yes, they may be coming from a place of insecurity, a place of pain, and we can empathize with that. But at the same time, this is a grown adult, and they need to take some responsibility for their own behavior and their own self-destructive habits that cause wonderful relationships to break down. So don't beat yourself up. You didn't cause it. Your love, unfortunately, is what pushed this person away, but that's not your fault.